Hermene Hartman with Indigo Studio, and today we're at Portrayals in the heart of Chicago's Broadway district. We're going to talk to actors, and we're going to talk about their Broadway performances. A Wonderful World opens in Chicago, world premiere. It is the story of Louis Armstrong, and Dewitt Fleming Jr. plays the role of Lincoln Perry, a name that you may not know, but you do know the character. The character was Stepin Fetchit. And then we're going to talk to Deon'te Goodman. Deon'te Goodman plays in Hamilton. He's played 4 different roles in Hamilton. This time, he is Aaron Burr, Vice President of the United States that you may not know, you may not have heard of. So you're going to learn something from both of these conversations. We're going to change some images, change some stereotypes. We're at Portrayals in Chicago, Broadway in Chicago. That's our story for today. We got a very, very, very special guest, Mr. Dewitt Fleming Jr., who is going to be in a new play, world class, world premiere in Chicago, What a Wonderful World, which is a story, musical tribute to the great Louis Armstrong.
Absolutely.
Welcome to Chicago, Mr. New Yorker. Straight from the Duke Ellington School of the Arts.
Yes, Washington, D.C., Duke Ellington School of the Arts. Yeah,
where you learned so much.
Absolutely. Learned more than the arts. Learned, culture, learned a lot of things. Yeah.
So you are a percussionist?
Yes.
You are a tap dancer?
Yes.
You are an actor?
Yep.
And more?
A singer, of course.
And a singer, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's genius level. That's a lot.
I don't know.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And you've been on Broadway, and you've done some very interesting, innovative musical things.
Yeah, I've traveled all over. I've been blessed to, be able to perform and do things, all over the world. So I am very blessed and lucky to be able to do what I love.
So let's talk about your new venture, your upcoming What a Wonderful World, where you play the part of Lincoln Perry.
Yes.
And this show is going to distill some stereotypes, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
So tell us who Lincoln Perry was by another name.
Oh, Lincoln Perry. Lincoln Perry, most people know him as Stepin Fetchit. And he was, unfortunately, a lot of us know him, and myself included until I did the research, as a stereotype. And whenever that name is even mentioned, you get certain feelings. And I remember, hearing that name about this show, and I had to go do my research because I had these feelings, and I said, well, I got to find out who this man really was.
So who he really was in a historical perspective, he was really the first black actor in Hollywood.
Yes.
And he was the first to make $1 million.
First to make $1 million. I mean, you're talking about early 1920s,
1920s, 30s.
Yeah, 1930s, and I mean, he was a brilliant mind, a very educated man. He played a certain role, which a lot of us knew, and at that time was something called putting on the massa. And what that meant was you play a certain way that people want you to play in order to get what you need to get.
Right. So it was a stereotypical role.
It was a stereotypical role, but he was very masterful in the way he did it. The comedy that he did, and the way that he was able to create this whole environment where the person that thought they were getting over on him, he was getting over on them. And yeah.
How does he relate to Louis Armstrong?
So he taught Louis Armstrong. He met Louis Armstrong in Hollywood. And in the show, we have a scene where he's teaching Louis how to make it in Hollywood. How you have to turn on a certain face or a certain way of communicating, a certain way of performing in order to get by and get the things that you want.
They were appealing to a white audience?
Yes, of course. I mean, you're appealing to a white audience at that time. The movie industry, very much so like today, doesn't necessarily appeal to black audiences.
Okay, but they were both very conscious that they were black.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I mean, what you see on camera is nothing of what was happening behind the scenes. I mean, Lincoln Perry would use to his advantage what they thought he was to get more pay, to get writing credits. I mean, he was one of the highest paid actors, and were actually paid more than some of the white actors at the time as well. And so he was writing for the Chicago Defender, that was right here in Chicago. And they didn't know that because they wouldn't be reading a black publication.
What was he writing? What kind of things was he?
Well,
was he doing entertainment writing?
Yeah, entertainment writing. A lot of things were reviews of shows and things of that nature. And of course, he would talk about other small political things. But I mean, he was a very educated man. He was very smart in the way he moved and the things he did. And he understood that, you know, if he acted a certain way, that he can get what he want and not let them know how smart he was, then they would open the door for him.
So he played, what word do we use? I don't want to say the dummy, but he played himself down.
He played himself down. He played himself down. And you know, again, this tactic, I mean, he was just brilliant. He used it with the press. And the press loved it, so it made him an even bigger star. And then so that made him have a negotiating position when he went to the Hollywood producers. Because the press loved him, everybody loved him. So when he went there, you know, he would play himself down, but then walk out of the door with a bigger salary.
A bag full of money, huh?
A bag full of money, you know. So he was very smart, and again, his artistry. I mean, before he did Hollywood, he was doing the silent films.
And vaudeville.
In vaudeville, yeah. And the rhythm and the way he used his body to communicate, even in silent films, was just, I mean, it was groundbreaking.
He was playing the servant. He was always the servant in a servant role.
Yeah,
was that right?
Servant role, different, it depended on the film, but different roles. But I mean, at that time, you know, that's what they offered us.
That's what you could play.
That's what they offered us. I mean, many people tried to, you know, create other roles for themselves and things, and it wouldn't happen. So he saw that and he said, well, how can we break through, give them what they want, and while getting what we want at the same time.
So let's talk about Louis Armstrong.
Yes, yes.
Because he too has been portrayed in
absolutely.
a vein where he too kind of put himself down a little bit.
Absolutely, yeah.
And this man was a genius.
Oh, he was a genius.
He's a musical genius.
Musical genius. Every and any music you hear today, we owe to him. I believe he said it himself, McGraw and Brown were a dance group, jazz and tap dance group that he played with. And he really wanted to mimic the steps that they were doing.
With the trumpet.
With the trumpet, and he wanted to complement them more. And it really informed the way he started to improvise and play music after that. And this is as early as 1925, 26.
Wow.
You know, and so you see this stuff happening, and then you see him start to develop this style.
How'd you find the love for tap?
The love for tap came for me in high school, my senior year at Duke Ellington. And I was studying theater, and we were learning musicals, and I had to tap in this particular musical. And I started playing drums when I was 12 years old, so I already loved rhythms and drums. And when I saw tap dancing and I saw that you can do those same rhythms with your feet, I mean, I just fell in love, and I became obsessed, and I was in a dance studio late until they kicked me out after school, and then I had a board in front of my television at home.
Was you still carrying it around, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Still carrying the board.
Still carrying the board around, yeah, absolutely.
Who's your favorite tap dancer?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Oh.
That's hard. That's really hard. I mean, I've been influenced by a lot of them. I mean, Gregory Hines, Bilbo Jangles Robinson. It's so many. Bunny Briggs.
Is it a dying art?
No, it's very much so alive. Very much so alive. I mean, there was just a movie, a Christmas movie with Will Ferrell that had tap dancing all through it that just came out this last year, you know, choreographed by, Chloe Arnold, She is really doing a great job at pushing tap into mainstream.
And Debbie Allen.
And she's a protege of Debbie Allen, so she's working with her out there. And then right here in Chicago, my good buddy Brill Barrett, is doing amazing things with Mad Rhythm and pushing the art form out there and getting it in places and putting it back into the mainstream, so. Yeah.
When people see the Louis Armstrong musical tribute, what do you want them to leave with? What do you want them to know? I never heard the Lincoln Perry story with Armstrong, but once you said it, it clicked because
Right.
it just makes sense. It's
Right,
just
it makes
logical.
sense, yeah.
But I think we're going to break down some stereotypes. It's kind of amazing now as we see the musical tributes being produced.
We have to give our ancestors the credit that they deserve. You know, having more access now sometimes can think we know more, but they knew, they understood, and they were able to persevere, and they were able to take their circumstances and create ways for us.
Thank you so much
Thank you.
for being
Thank
with
you.
us, and
Yeah.
we look forward to seeing the
Yeah.
play world premiere. I'm so happy that the
Absolutely.
world premiere is in
Yes,
Chicago.
absolutely.
And then you
Yeah.
go straight to Broadway.
Yes.
Thank you.
What a wonderful world.
We all know the awesome power of the sun. See how your solar options could help fill your life with clean energy at ComEd.com/clean energy.
In comes Company, the hilarious Tony Award-winning Broadway musical about life, love, and good company. Critics give it 5 stars, saying yes, it's really that good.
October 31st and November 12th. Tickets at BroadwayInChicago.com.
Lewis is back. A Wonderful World, the new Broadway-bound musical about the life and loves of Louis Armstrong, premieres in Chicago October 12th through 29th. Tickets at BroadwayInChicago.com.
If you want to advance your education, career, or life, City Colleges of Chicago is close to home and second to none. With 7 colleges and 5 satellite locations, City Colleges is in your neighborhood and online to help you learn and lead from wherever you live. You have a goal. Love it. Live it. With classes this fall at City Colleges of Chicago.
We are business leaders, community activists, healthcare providers, leaders, scientists, educators, athletes, media professionals, artists. We are Govs They.
Closed captioning is sponsored by Governors State University.
We're back with Indigo Studio, and I'm Hermene Hartman, and we are going to talk to Deon'te Goodman. He's back in Chicago, back on Hamilton. Hamilton coming to Chicago, not for its first run, but for its second run, where it was so successful in Chicago. Deon'te is a classically trained singer and has appeared in the Broadway production of Hamilton, not in one role, but in 4. He was the understudy for the role that he's playing now, and that is Aaron Burr. We're going to learn a lot about Aaron Burr, who he was and what he did, what his significance is, because he's really kind of an obscure character of history who had a real major role. Let's talk about you first. How did you become classically trained singer?
Right, well, first of all, thank you for having me here.
Thank you.
Excited to sit and chat with you.
And welcome to Chicago.
Thank you so much. I grew up singing in the church, as most young black singers do, thanks to my mom, you know, church boy, and just went along that route. My music teachers were and still are a huge reason why I am doing any of this today. They got me into my first musical when I was in 6th grade. They brought me to my competitions because, you know, my mom was a single mom raising 6 kids.
What was your first musical?
My first musical was The Music Man.
The Music Man,
Music
okay.
Man. I
okay.
was Harold Hill, just leading a band of trumpets and trombones and everything.
That was fun.
It was quite fun. It was quite fun to play the con artist a bit. But yeah, so my music teachers brought me to my competitions and sort of like raised me up in the world of musical theater. And I really just wanted to explore more of what I can do as a singer, you know. And so when I went to school, one of my music teachers was like, well, you should look at University of North Carolina at Greensboro, because at the time we had moved to North Carolina. And they had an incredible classical program. And at the time I didn't know anything about classical music. I know about pop, I know about R&B, I know about gospel, but for some reason they decided to accept me anyway. And it was my first look at training classically. It was my first look at having a voice teacher. It was my first look at learning about Western European culture, and just the style of voicing that is. And I learned so much just about my voice and how to be a better teacher and a better singer and performer. And I, you know, cherish my time there with my voice teachers, LaVon Tobin Scott, powerful Black woman, and Carla Lefevre, who was my second voice teacher there, and yeah, taught me everything I know.
How did we get to Hamilton?
Well, I have to tell you about the first time I heard a song from Hamilton. The first song that I ever heard from Hamilton was in 2015. It was the song Burn. And I had just been going through a breakup. And if you know anything about that song, it is just a heart-wrenching number, where Eliza sings about her reaction to the Reynolds pamphlet that Alexander writes. And to explore the feeling and hearing the emotion that Philippa put into that number, it was just heart-wrenching for me. So I remember my friend was like, you have to hear this song. And I heard it and I fell in love with it. And then the very next day I said, well, what is this show? And then the next song I played was the Schuyler Sisters.
Wow.
And I got such a Destiny's Child type vibe from it that I fell in love with the show. And then I had to listen to it from top to bottom.
Well, the show is incredible.
I mean,
in more ways than one. I mean,
absolutely.
you're talking about the emotion of the music itself, but to take the founding fathers and think that you could characterize them in theater, I think just that thought is absolutely amazing.
It's amazing and ambitious, and I'm sure that people looked at Lin-Manuel Miranda like, what do you think you're doing?
That's right.
Yeah,
what are you doing?
I mean, but he had a vision, and it plays so well. It's genius the way that he's able to take, you know, this history that we know, these monuments that we know, and to paint the human beings that we see today, using the music that is built from Black culture and Latinx culture and you know and hip hop and you know, also got to shout out the fact that hip hop just celebrated its 50th birthday.
That's right.
You know,
this year, no less.
Exactly. But being able to marry history in that way in the music that is so naturally ingrained in our upbringing is, I mean, just phenomenal.
One of the things that amazes about Hamilton is it confronts slavery.
Yeah.
All of the founding fathers had Black children. They had Black families. That's amazing. What, as you have played 4 different roles in Hamilton, talk about those roles.
So I played Madison.
You played George Washington.
I played George Washington. I played Aaron Burr. And then my 4th role was ensemble role, Man 6.
Let's talk about Aaron Burr, because I did some research on Aaron Burr, and he is an obscure character in our history, but quite major. Talk about who Aaron Burr was and what he did.
Yeah, so Aaron Burr had quite the journey, and the more I learn about him, the more I read about him, the more I'm just fascinated by the human being. I mean, first of all, a scholar. Absolutely incredible. Was accepted at Princeton as a sophomore at the age of 13, and then went on to, even after his studies, studied theology, and then when the Revolutionary War became, you know, much more prominent, he decided to put his studies of law and theology aside, and to join the fight. And then beyond that, went on to serve in the Senate, went on to be vice president, and serve 1 term as vice president after losing an election, to a major historical election, to Thomas Jefferson.
But he changed. That's when he changed the 12th Amendment.
Well, so we can talk about that, right?
So what did he do? What happened?
So Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr ran against each other. And back in that time, when you were running an election, and whoever lost, whoever was the runner-up, became the vice president. That's just how it went. The winner of the presidency became the president. The runner-up became the vice president. The election between Thomas Jefferson and Aaron Burr, it was an electoral tie. It was a tie between the Electoral College, and so the Electoral College eventually voted Jefferson. And what Jefferson did was sideline Burr. And in the story we tell it, and in the show of Hamilton, we tell it as Jefferson wanted to sideline Burr because he was just so shocked and offended that Burr even would openly campaign against Thomas Jefferson, because that was unheard of. Nobody openly campaigned. You going door to door, passing out pamphlets saying, "Vote for Burr. I'm Aaron Burr. Vote for me. Here's what I'm going to do for you." It's something that's it's the way that elections are done now. But
not then.
Back then, it was revolutionary.
So he kind of maybe introduced what we call now retail politics?
Yeah, absolutely. I would 1000% say that. So, but what Jefferson did in his sidelining of Burr during the presidency was he was the one to implement a president or someone running for president choosing their running mate. So they were both very historic and sort of ratifying that 12th Amendment in the Constitution. But,
and that's a major part of our history. So one of the things in looking at the founding fathers, they were scholars.
Yeah.
They were smart. They were educated. They
and young.
And they really were founding fathers. And we transfer that into today.
Yeah.
It's quite the opposite. How do you deal with Hamilton confronting slavery? Is it an honest portrayal?
It's as honest as it can be with the story that they're working to tell. Speaking honestly from my first, look at the show before I was in it, I wondered how so many Black people and people of color could reconcile, playing these founding fathers, playing these people who owned slaves, playing these people who had such a huge part in the genocide of Black people. And it's still something that I think a lot of us tend to question, and you have to find your own way to make sense of it, right? What makes sense for me is that I look at the show, I look at the story being told, I look at who's telling it, and it reminds me that Black people, that this country was built on the backs of Black people.
That's the sound of the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program, saving you up to $500 on your energy bills. With rebates and discounts on energy-efficient products. So you can enjoy coming back to a home full of savings. Visit ComEd.com/home savings.
In comes Company, the hilarious Tony Award-winning Broadway musical about life, love, and good company. Critics give it 5 stars, saying yes, it's really that good.
October 31st through November 12th. Tickets at BroadwayInChicago.com.
Lewis is back. A Wonderful World, the new Broadway-bound musical about the life and loves of Louis Armstrong, premieres in Chicago October 12th through 29th. Tickets at BroadwayInChicago.com.
If you want to advance your education, career, or life, City Colleges of Chicago is close to home and second to none. With 7 colleges and 5 satellite locations, City Colleges is in your neighborhood and online to help you learn and lead from wherever you live. You have a goal, love it, live it, with classes this fall at City Colleges of Chicago.
Here's something amazing about Hamilton, and I think brilliant of what was done in the play, is you played George Washington.
Exactly.
And that's like, how's a Black man playing George?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
that has.
And so when you're out in the audience and you have that Black kid that's staring at me lead
Playing
a country,
George Washington.
playing George Washington, running a country.
He's the president, first president.
Exactly.
Barack wasn't the first president.
Exactly.
He was the first. Yeah.
Exactly.
That goes on.
It goes on, and it paints the story. For what I hope that it does for them is exactly what it does for me. It painted the story of like, okay, we're telling the story of the people who built this country, and they look like us. You know what I'm saying?
And it's a real story.
And it's a real story, and it gives voice in a way that I don't think I ever felt that I had voice.
Right.
You also think about how the phenomenon that is Hamilton, the phenomenon that it became. I mean, you think about the Broadway. You have the Broadway show, and then you have the Chicago production. Then you have 3 national tours. Then you have, the production in the UK, the production in Germany, the production that they're about to launch in Asia, and you think about the amount of Black people and people of color that are being put to work, that are being given opportunities that did not exist before.
In the theater.
That did not exist before. You think about the way that this is sort of that Hamilton revolutionized and exposed so many different audiences to music that they probably wouldn't listen to.
As they told a real, authentic history.
Exactly.
So let's go back to Burr, because Burr did something else.
Yeah.
What is Burr really known for? Because it's not the 12th Amendment. What else did he
the 12th.
do?
Burr is really known for what they call now the Burr-Hamilton duel.
That was the duel.
That was the duel where he shot Alexander Hamilton, and that sort of plummeted his entire political career.
He killed Hamilton.
He killed Hamilton.
So the duel was a fight.
The duel was the fight.
The duel was, we go, and that's the way men handled conflict in those days.
That is the way that men handled conflicts. In those days, it's illegal, but Burr was never tried for it. And we have this line in the show when Hamilton's son is getting ready to duel. There's a line in the show that says everything is legal in New Jersey, and that's sort of I like to think of that as sort of a play on like these human beings, they were never tried for Burr was tried and charged for other things, but never that duel where he killed.
Not the murder of Hamilton.
Not the murder of Hamilton.
Deon'te Goodman, Hamilton, and he plays the role of a person in history that you really may not know, but you should know because he is most significant. His name is Aaron Burr. The show is Hamilton. Second round in Chicago. Some people didn't get their tickets the first time around. This time, go see Hamilton. Deon'te, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
You are just gifted. You've played 4 roles. My goodness, congratulations to you.
Thank you so much.
Emmys later, Tony Awards later, worldwide tour.
Absolutely.
But we're glad you're here with us in Chicago.
Thank you, glad to be here.
Thank you.
Excited.